Oh yes, Batman. You and the Ninja Turtles thwart Shredder once again. Oh, hello there. How are you doing today? I'm Mr. Schwartz. Welcome back to my channel. Didn't see you there. Today I'm going to be talking about some books. Now you might be wondering, well, I already did this before, right? I already did the where do I have that book challenge. Where'd that video go? Well, short answer, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what happened to it, but I checked the other day and it just was not loading on my channel. It just was not working and I don't know why. I don't know how many other of my videos that it's happened to, but everything else seems fine, so I'm just gonna redo it. I enjoy talking about books a lot. I had a really good time doing it last time, so I'm just gonna do it again. My collection has actually changed a lot since the last time that I did the Do I Have That Book Challenge. I've done a lot of purging, I've gotten a lot of new stuff thanks to BookVent, which if anyone is curious, I can do a video about that, but I just kind of ended up enjoying BookVent more on my own and didn't really record videos because I just didn't feel like it. But let's redo the Do I Have That Book Challenge with my new, slightly new book collection. There's one more row right down there. You can't really see it all that well, but there is stuff down there. I assure you of that. So let's begin with number 1. Do you have a book with deckled edges? I didn't last time. I don't know if I do now, but I'll find out. Nope, still no deckled edges. Moving on to number 2 then. Do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? Let's find out. Turns out I do. I have book 1 of the Candy Shop Wars. So far it's a duology, got 4 characters on it. I have not read either of these yet, but I bought them sight unseen just because Brandon Mole has earned that kind of trust from me. He's a great writer. Question 3, do you have a book based on another fictional story? Yes, I do. And that book is And the Ocean Was Our Sky, written by Patrick Ness and illustrated by Ravina Kai. This is a take on the Moby Dick story, but instead of Captain Ahab hunting Moby Dick, we instead have the whales hunting after the great white demon Toby Wick. This is really good. Question 4, do you have a book with a title that is 10 letters long? I'm going to try to not use any of the same ones that I used last time, so I can't use Brave Story, Fablehaven, or Warbreaker, so kind of limits my options. Let's see what I got. Turns out I had another one, actually. That is book 2 in the X-Heroes saga, X-Patriots. There's 5 books in this series, and I actually got the first book for this series during BookVent, and I had no idea about the writing for this writer or anything like that, and I have all 5 now. I love this series. This is exactly up my alley. Zombie apocalypse with superheroes. Question 5, do you have a book with a title that starts and ends with the same letter? Potentially, not quite sure. We'll find out. I do indeed. I have Peter Brown's The Wild Robot. This is another book that I got for BookVent. Didn't know anything about this writer, didn't know anything about this story at all. And by the time I was finished, I actually begged Emma to get me the second book in the duology, The Wild Robot Escapes. This is a great little duology. I burned through these in like a couple days, 8 tops. This is so fantastic. Question 6, do you have a mass market paperback book? Yes, I do, and I'm actually really happy to have this one. I have the Further Adventures of Batman, 14 Adventures of the Caped Crusader. This came out in, I believe, the 80s. I found this at a used bookstore up in their clearance section. I think, it literally just cost me $1. I mean, even if some of these aren't very good, I mean, it's Batman, and literally one of these is written by Isaac Asimov. I'm really curious to see what he has to say about Batman. Question 7, do you have a book written by an author using a pen name? So not their real name. I believe so, but I'm gonna check. I'm actually not too certain anymore. I might have gotten rid of it. I thought I have them, but I don't actually have any books by an author using a pen name anymore, so no. Question 8. Do you have a book with a character's name in the title? Well, my Harry Potter illustrated books are actually put away right now, so yes, I actually do. I have over here one of my favorite things I got from Book Event last year. I got a 3-book set of Neil Gaiman's novels that are all illustrated by the same illustrator, Chris Riddell. And within there was a copy of Coraline. And the book is way different from the movie. I actually saw the movie first before I read the book. I like the movie more, but I like the illustrations in this too. Question 9, do you have a book with 2 maps in it? 2 maps, not just one. This was a tricky one last time. It took me a really long time to look through all these. But for you, I'll look through them again. So technically I do. I have the 2 maps that are in Horror Store over here, but I used that last time. I didn't want to use it again. So technically yes, but I'm gonna say no just because I don't want to repeat myself. Question 10, do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? Not a movie, a TV show. Well, X-Heroes definitely has to be turned into a TV show at some point. It's Walking Dead meets superheroes. But, let me check. Yep, How to Train Your Dragon. It wasn't just a movie, they also turned it into Dragons Riders of Berk or something of that sort. So, this counts. I don't really like this book though. Question 11. Do you have a book written by someone who was originally famous for something else, i.e. celebrity, athlete, politician, TV personality, etc.? Probably not. I don't really read those kind of like non-fiction books that most of them write, like biographies or things of that sort, but I'll see. I don't think so. I'd actually completely forgotten about this one. I have Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes by Scott Cawthon, originally famous for being a game developer for Five Nights at Freddy's. I haven't read this yet. I found it really cheap at a thrift store a couple of months ago, so let me know in the comments if this is worth reading at all. If I like Five Nights at Freddy's, I don't like to play it, but I like the lore, so is this worth reading? Let me know. Question 12, do you have a book with a clock on the cover? I actually have no idea. This one floored me last time too, so let's see if any of my new ones have a clock on it. Still no clock. Nope. Question 13, do you have a poetry book? I used to. I do not have a poetry book anymore unless you would say this one counts. It's not a book of poetry, it has a single poem in it. This is Instructions by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Charles Vess. Again, it's not a huge book of poetry, it's an illustrated book with just one poem running through it. I'll say it counts. This is a neat little book. Question 14, do you have a book with an award stamp on it? Last time I used a Monster Calls, but when I was looking through these books earlier, I actually figured out I have another book with an award stamp on it. That being book 5 of the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander, the High King. There's the award stamp. I don't actually know what it is. It says John Newbery Medal. So it's the John Newbery Medal. I don't know when that was awarded. The Black Cauldron also has a Newbery Medal on it. So there you go. I love these books. Question 15. Do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? Last time I used John Scalzi for Red Shirts. Really ended up hating Red Shirts. Actually DNF'd it. So let's find a different person with JS. I don't think I have one. I no longer do. Oh well. Question 16. Do you have a book of short stories? Yes, and it's right here. I have the Batman one, obviously, but I also have stories selected by Neil Gaiman for the anthology Unnatural Creatures. This is a cool little anthology that details a bunch of like creatures that are not the typical ones you would think of, like werewolves and vampires and the sort. There's a lot of different weird stuff in here. Question 17, do you have a book that is between 500 and 510 pages long? This one took a long time last time, but I'll do it for you, because I like you. 560, 824, 429, 680, 479. Yes! 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 If you include the acknowledgements, and if you include the teaser for the next book set that he was gonna write, Beyonders Chasing the Prophecy has 509 pages in it. You saved me. Question number 18. Do you have a book that was turned into a movie? I have a lot of books that were turned into movies. A lot that I wish were turned into movies, but let me pick out my favorite for you. I just picked out my two favorites from the bunch that I have. Chronicles of Purday in Book 2, The Black Cauldron, was turned into the Disney film, The Black Cauldron. Gets a bad rap, it's really not that bad, and the book is absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, Peter S. Beagle's The Last Unicorn. I love this book oh so very, 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 very much, to the point where I have the movie version. Now I really want the graphic novel version of this, just so I can have more versions of this story. Question 19, do you have a graphic novel? I have a whole shelf of them over here. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm gonna do this whole thing again, but I'm gonna focus on that shelf. But just to fill out this particular challenge, I'll show off the graphic novel that I have for Monsters Unleashed. This is so big. And they're making more books this size too. They just did it with the Marvel series called Marvels, and I think they did it with a Jim Lee's run of something. I want all of the books that are this size. And question 20, do you have a book written by 2 or more authors? I feel like doing the anthologies is kind of cheap in that regard, but I do actually have one that was written exclusively by 2 authors for one story. Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child, The Cabinet of Curiosities. I've heard of Preston and Child before now. I've never actually read any of their books, but this one sounded really interesting. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, my redux version of the Do I Have That Book challenge. My collection has really decreased in the last couple of months. I did a lot of downsizing just because I knew I was going to be getting more stuff for Bookvent, and also because I just don't want to become like a book hoarder. So basically anything over here that I hadn't touched in over a year, just gone. No matter what it was, if I hadn't actually read it before, and I've had it for more than a year and haven't even touched it, just got rid of it, plain and simple. It was hard, but it left me with a collection that I'm a lot happier about because it's a lot more streamlined, and I'm really happy overall. Didn't get every single thing on this list, but that's okay. So if you enjoyed this video, that makes me very happy, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this has been Mr. S. Have yourselves a good day.